All right. And what I'll do is I'll take us live. So we're live right now.
Perfect.
And so first things first, Bowie, I know you've got a call at 11:30. So when we start cutting it close, if we haven't finished yet, just let me know and we'll jump off. We'll kind of end it there.
No worries.
Good morning, the Florida Wrestling Room. How are you today? Welcome back to our show. And I'm here with Bowie Matteson. So a little bit about Bowie. He's a local fireman, so he does that. But most of his time is spent at the CrossFit Winter Park gym, where he does a multitude of private lessons, really focused on the athlete. And one of his main focuses is wrestlers. My son has been with him now for several months. We had a group of kids that went through during the summer with him that are doing really well and still keep in contact. And he's definitely done wonders for my child, so I can vouch for him. And anyway, Bowie, so tell us your background, about yourself, all that good stuff.
Thank you, Dan, for having me. I just want to first commend you for having this sort of the group, the Wrestling Room. I think this is such a cool idea to be able to kind of collaborate with other people in the sport, especially in a blossoming state like Florida, with all their, a lot of great wrestlers are starting to come out of the South, which is kind of a new thing. But
yeah, I've been blessed that Ricky gave me the platform. He's been building this room, and it's almost got 9,000 members now. And when I reached out to him, he was like, "Yeah, bring it in." So I was blessed to get the opportunity, and here I am.
So that's so cool. So cool. Well, my name's Bowie Matteson. I'm from upstate New York originally. I grew up playing baseball. I went to school for it. Got my first degree from Hofstra University, which has gained a little notoriety for their wrestling program. The head coach for Ohio State Wrestling now got his start at Hofstra. So a little bit of carryover into elite wrestling. I got my master's degree from Hofstra as well in sports science. From there, I interned in the strength and conditioning community at Hofstra at the University of Washington in their Olympic weight room. And then I finished at the University of Maryland before I was taken on full-time as an assistant strength and conditioning coach, where I was responsible for, you guessed it, the wrestling team. So I was a strength coach there for their, Big Ten wrestling program. So obviously a big deal there, dealing with a lot of, the East Coast, that kind of mid-Atlantic region's best wrestlers. So that was a lot of fun. I spent a year there working with their program. Got a chance to see some really elite wrestlers from Penn State to Michigan to Ohio State and throughout the Big Ten. But I also had a few of my own. So Yusuf Hamida was one of someone I was grateful to get to work with. He was an All-American as a heavyweight in 2017 now. So from there, I've since relocated to Central Florida. I've taken on that personal training approach, getting a chance to kind of feel out the area for what sort of athletics going on. I was lucky enough to land in Winter Park at CrossFit Winter Park, and ever since then, I worked with Jack Eisenhut, whose son Cade is up and coming in the Florida wrestling community too, and he turned me on to obviously you, Dan, and your son Daniel, and that whole community. So just taking kind of a new, not really a new, but a little bit more enhanced take on strength and conditioning to build off of what the clubs are doing themselves. I've found a lot of high school strength and conditioning is really lacking. Not so much in motivation and sort of those willing to coach, but kind of in the details, the technique, making sure that kids are doing things safely and appropriately for their age, for their skill level, and things like that. So I'm kind of breaking the kids that I take on down to the movement level, making sure that they can move well and move safely, and then sort of build on from there to make sure that they can turn that on when it comes time to hitting the mat.
Yeah, and a good job you do. I mean, I know that I'll eventually get my little guy in there. I know he's come a couple times, but Daniel, I mean, what you've done with him, he's come light years, and he's still. So one thing that I've liked is everybody's stuck home now. I know that, and but it hasn't stopped Bowie. I mean, he reached out. He put together a plan for him to do while he's at the house. He put together a different diet plan. Obviously, it's tough to stick to that right now because we only have access to what we have access to. So he's doing his best, but he's written it down for him. He's in the garage all the time doing it. So I can just tell you from my experience, it's been really good. If you have a kid out there. So talk a little bit about. So right now the kids are home.
Mm-hmm.
What kind of plans would you be putting together for them, and how can people get in touch with you? Will you still work with people one-on-one virtually? How can we still get you in our living rooms, in our kids' lives, and really helping them grow?
Absolutely. So one of the things I like to do best is to meet one-on-one, and obviously now meeting in person may not be ideal, but virtually checking in, being able to see how everyone's doing. In terms of physically and what people are able to do, I know not everyone has a fully equipped gym at home. One of the things that most up and coming athletes, especially youth athletes, have to realize is that most of the work that you have to do is going to be at home. So you can have, even if we weren't on quarantine and you're seeing me for, your 3 1-hour sessions a week, or, whatever it is, there are still a lot more hours in the day that you have to work on yourself, whether that be diet, whether that be, extra core work, balance work, whatever it is that we talk about. So getting familiar with getting your work done at home is extremely useful for a lot of kids now looking to get to the next level when it comes time to getting back to kind of normal as things were before. So that's an important point. So getting kids used to, taking things and taking it on their own and taking responsibility for getting things done. But personalized programming, again, I can write a program for anybody with any sort of equipment or no equipment at all. We'll obviously have to take you through some diagnostic work to make sure I'm not telling you to do something that's going to hurt yourself or something you don't know how to do. That's as simple as a call like this, where it's like, okay, can you show me how you lunge? Can you show me how you do a push-up? And then I can send you either material to help you kind of process it and get a little bit better at it, or show you myself and be able to kind of coach you through it. Whether it be arm angles, stride length, simple metrics to kind of help you get the most out of what I'm telling you to do.
Also understanding now that we're in the off season, what weight they're going to wrestle at, where they're trying to get to, and also the advice that you give them. I know my son was like, I'm going to get all the way down to 132. And you're like, that you can't do that. That's not healthy. We need to do this. And we set up a program to keep him around 138, 140 this year. And now I know you're working with him to bulk up to the next level. But there's a lot of kids out there that don't understand the health issues behind if you're making these drastic cuts or if you're starving yourself. What do you tell those kids out there? Are you a big advocate of just wrestle your weight? Are you a big advocate of adjusting? What do you usually recommend the kids do?
Well, I don't recommend training scared. And that's what I feel like a lot of kids are doing. They're, I don't want to lift too much. I don't want to get too big. Or if they do, then they're going to match it with, if they spend an hour in the weight room, they're going to go 2 hours on the treadmill. And that just gets to be too much, especially for these kids on the schedules that they're at with their club, with their school, with everything. So I worked under an Olympic qualified wrestler at Maryland who always said when it came to meeting weight, if you know how to wrestle at 108, then you know how to wrestle at 184, 174, whatever it is. Wrestling skills are wrestling skills, whether they're applied to a big body or a little body. Obviously, there are nuances to each weight class that you kind of learn through experience. But I think for someone, 13, 14, 15-year-old, someone new to the sport or not, to look at yourself, in that great time of growth, you've literally got rocket fuel in your veins, and to say, I'm going to stay at the exact weight I am and do whatever it takes to stay here. It's not advisable for any sort of long-term health. You're running into hormonal imbalances, structural imbalances, because your body is looking to grow. And a lot of times people are, these kids are malnourished, by their own doing. So that doesn't mean eat what you want and hope for the best. That's not what I'm implying, but there is a lot to say for getting down your nutrition habits to both maintain weight and build and lose without falling in love with a single weight or a single weight class. You have to let yourself grow. You have to let yourself come into your body, because a lot of kids don't realize, okay, so let's say Daniel was at, 130.
138 is what he wrestled, but I know you guys had talked about, and he was saying, I'm going to go 132 or I'm going to go 126. And
yeah, exactly. And now, and
he had to sit him down and kind of tell him, hey, that's crazy. If he lifted,
lifted the way he wanted to and ate the way he wanted to, he'd probably get up to the 150s, 152. So, but if you were to ask Daniel how strong he felt at 126 versus even 145, something where he, like a midweek comfortable weight where he knew he could cut to 138, it's night and day. So these kids don't realize what they're cutting out.
Well, I think we realized that during the season, if you remember, where he had that, there was that point where he was like, okay, I'm going to listen to you now, because he had that one tournament early on that he had won. And then he went to the next tournament and he got smoked, and he had cut because he was just on this whole, I know everything, I'm a teenager thing.
Mm-hmm.
And he said when he came off the mat, he's like, man, I didn't feel as strong as I usually feel. I didn't feel as energized as I usually feel. And that caused him really to come back to you and be like, hey man, okay, I'm all ears.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And by no means am I the wrestling guru. I've kind of, with the kids I've worked with, I've kind of done my research on a lot of what goes into being a wrestler, but I am by no means experienced. So I love to coach. Kids are some of the best because they go through those stages, and you get to kind of coach them through those learning moments where, oh wait, cutting, there's a big difference between cutting 10 pounds, eating what I want and having to cut 10 pounds versus paying a little bit more attention and maybe not having everything I wanted, but coming out on top when it comes to, your Saturday match. So you kind of have those aha moments where, it's not the end of the world. One match isn't the end of the world. So you take that as a learning lesson and you move on to the next, a better wrestler. So I love to kind of watch that happen.
Yeah. And if you guys get a chance to get on, so tell us how, first, obviously tell us how we can get a hold of you, how we can contact you. And then when we get off of the call, please go ahead and put all that information in the contacts.
Mm-hmm.
So, go ahead.
Sure. So I have a website. It's my name, Bowie Matteson, BOWIE MATTESON. Obviously, I'll write that all in the comment section. But BowieMatteson.com. There are contact lists that you can write in and reach out to me. I think I have my phone number on there as well. Again, don't be a stranger. Whether it be a little consultation where you're just saying, okay, can you point me in the right direction, or something that you're willing to train, or, nutrition advice. It's just stuff I like to talk about. So don't be a stranger. The website, email, everything is all on that website. So
yeah, he's a full-time trainer and a part-time firefighter. It's not
that's
the other
right.
way around.
That's right.
He's really passionate about what he does on the training side, and it's really good stuff. So yeah, I mean, all I can say, obviously, I thank you for what you're doing with Daniel, and we're not going to stop. And hopefully we get to the other side of this and we can get him back out there into the gym. I know we had Stephanie on, the owner of CrossFit Winter Park, the other day. And I think I shared the video with the wrestling room as well. We were on my personal page, and I had told her that I was having you come on, and she had mentioned that you guys have been kind enough to give clients, or not give, but loan out boxes and barbells and just items, bands, just to keep them involved. You guys are doing a video session every morning that gets posted as, what do you guys call it, the WOD or whatever?
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, and that's live. Well, the morning session is live, but then it stays there so that anybody at their convenience can get on and do the WOD. So that's awesome. And then, the questions that we usually ask 10 questions with Ricky, but I don't think I can ask you like ice cream cake or birthday cake, can I? I mean, that's something you can still dabble in a little bit.
Well, I guess so. I mean, I'm a type 1 diabetic and I'm gluten-free, so those questions might not be as fun as for other people, but definitely ice cream cake.
So nothing, and then he usually asks Coke or Pepsi. I can't imagine you mess with
no
that
soda.
stuff.
Nope, stick to your water. You need water more than anything.
So I could say like iced tea or lemonade.
Unsweetened iced tea sometimes.
And on the wrestling side, you prefer the folk style or the freestyle?
Freestyle.
Headgear or no headgear? What do you recommend?
Oh, headgear. I can't add those
those
cauliflower ear. Ooh. It's a tough look.
Singlet or two-piece?
Singlet. Gotta go classic.
Saltwater or freshwater?
Saltwater.
Rap or country?
Rap. Oh, hip hop all the way.
Love it. You're the first one. I love it. I was waiting for that to come up. Yes.
Oh yeah.
Car or
quick little thing on rap and country. I'll ask anyone familiar with the weight room who's listening. Tell me anybody you know who has hit a PR listening to country music. I couldn't name any. Hip hop gets in your blood, gets in your
yeah. Well, I believe hip hop and country are the same except sung differently, because you can take the same song and be like, yo, I'm here with the yo, I'm here with the body. You can do the same thing with both lyrics. So
yeah, you're probably not wrong about that.
Car or pickup?
Car.
Popeyes or Chick-fil-A?
I mean,
tough one, huh?
I guess I couldn't tell you the last time I ate at either one of them.
So
I'd say.
All right, so how about like
cook your own meal?
How about like Smoothie King or Nature's Table?
Ooh, okay, Nature's Table.
Now I'm hitting your wheelhouse, right?
Got it.
And then ocean or swimming pool?
Ocean.
Love it. Hey man, I know you got to jump on a call. Please put your information on there. I appreciate you coming on. Hey, if anybody needs a really good trainer or just a good friend, man, hit him up. And he's one of the nice ones. So thanks, Bowie, man. I appreciate you.
Thank you so much, Dan. I look forward to getting a chance to work with whoever's watching.
Awesome, man. You take care.
Awesome. Thank you.